So we got it in.
So
here we go.
that's what we're getting in.
All right. So everything is up. Everything is live. Here we go. Let's get this in. Hopefully you have a chance to jump in and get on with me while I'm here. I just want to come on, not just, but I want to be with you very briefly. This has been a very trying few series of months from the last fast. Want to have the opportunity to say thank you for those of you that have asked questions. Please visit the link in our LinkTree. You can check it out right here. You can go to the link that is in the event description for the fast, which starts on Tuesday at sunset, the 14th of September. Really grateful for everyone that is joining us. We're going to be talking about, in general, what's happening with this particular fast. Ideally, as we've done these before, I haven't talked at length about the autumnal or the fall equinox fast, how that fits into the cultural cycles, what it means, and then how that fits in with your body, what's going on with your body at this time. Hey, what's happening, Sister Rose? Good to see you. And to hopefully put into context some of the reasons behind why we do what we do, both in terms of the body and in terms of the subtle bodies. So what I want to begin with, as always, you check out our LinkTree, and our LinkTree has all of the documentation that you'll need in one spot. So what you'll find there is you'll find your calendar, which lets you know when we start the fast, what's happening overall. You know, for the entirety of the fast, we're going to have 5 planets in retrograde. And towards the end, if you're doing the extended fast, we'll have 6 planets that'll be in retrograde. So we want to talk about what that is and how that cosmic energetic influence, what that does for the body. Now, I don't want to go into depth on that in terms of that, because I like to point people to folks who are doing this real work. So for me, I use Word Life Sonia Marie. She does weekly breakdowns on YouTube live. You can check her out there, as well as she posts also here on IG and on Facebook. So rather than have you get it from me, you get it from one of the folks that I work with regularly, who is giving you the rundown for what's happening in those spaces. And so that is specifically Sonia Marie Word Life Astrology. You can also pick up her book on the signs. Knowing me, I should have it right here in front of me. I don't. However, you want to pick that up. It also gives you very effective understanding of how you can use this knowledge of the planets and stars to help aid and benefit you. So now this is how we're going to get into the fast. This particular fast, what's happening, Star Quality Beauty? Good to see you, sis. What we're working on now is getting everybody tight. Okay, so 4 times a year we fast. The reason we do it 4 times a year is we live in a place where there is abundance. And so to deal with some of the metaphysical aspects of that, I share a wonderful poem from Rumi on fasting in the guidance document that you can get on our LinkTree. All right. So just want to be clear, and this will also live on our YouTube channel under our Liberation Tools playlist, and you'll have an opportunity to check in with that. You know, you can also like and share. So if you get the information you want to be able to share with folks who are prepping for the fast, you can get this to them. It should go up hopefully before midnight tonight, so folks have an opportunity to hit their favorite farmer's market, hit their favorite bulk shopping place, get to their co-op before the fast starts to get what we need. I'm going to talk a bit more specifically about some things on the fast that we haven't talked about before. Not only is each fast different, but they're coming at different times, and I'm coming much more openly than we would have before, particularly because these are things that can aid in your mental health, aid in your emotional health, as we continue to deal with this international pandemic and COVID. The international pandemic would be anti-Blackness and the way in which people of color, BIPOC, are negatively impacted by this settler colonial hierarchy. So we want to get that straight. So that's the international pandemic and how it plays out. And then it's going to have some unique contextual situations on our mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional health that engaging in this fast. Of course, I'm not offering advice. You can check it out with your primary care practitioner, check it out with your healthcare provider. You have some time, but this is something that was done traditionally at least 4 times a year community-wide. And then if you were involved in any of the specific guilds or priesthoods, and then depending upon what level of priest you operated within, you may be under different kinds of fasts, different kinds of rules. This fast, again, like all the fasts that we do, are raw food fasts. So what that means is very simple. Raw food, don't cook. Okay, so that means raisins and dehydrated foods are good, unsulfured. Fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, fresh juice. And when I say fresh juice, I mean like April's Life in a Bottle. That's what I'm talking about. April's Life in a Bottle juice. Okay, that fresh. Okay, when I talk about fresh vegetables, I'm also talking about major microgreens. You know, you can see that, sister, at the Baldwin Hills Crenshaw Farmers Market Saturdays. Major, you get your sprouts, awesome sprouts. Okay, you're going to need that, and you're also going to need, depending on what type of conditions your body has. If you know you can do nuts and seeds, do nuts and seeds. If nuts and seeds may give you challenges, then I really implore you, whether they do or don't, check out Major Microgreens and get on them sprouts. A magnificent snack. You just want something to eat on, or just throw them snacks in there. It's a magnificent garnish for your salads, because we're going raw. So of course, what that means is I'll be demonstrating, I'll be showing some of the salads that I make. So, and then it's not done in terms of competition. It's done so that folks have an opportunity to really see you can take the same ingredients, and have a different salad, and have different flavors, different flavor profile, different mouth chew, in a way that is exciting and invigorating for you. So don't think that it's boring. And also, if you go to the LinkTree, we have food samples. We have a grocery shopping sample that is in line with the season. Now, due to human-induced or human-participated climate change, we're experiencing some things in this fast that is unique, that even though summer is ending and fall is beginning, you're going to have some very unique things occurring during this cycle. So like last year, we had pomegranate that was early. And pomegranate usually is a winter fruit or a late fall fruit, but it now was occurring, late September, early October. So you have a chance to get some of that. And we also continue to get watermelon, which usually is a late spring, summer fruit. It usually ends at the beginning of September, the season. We're getting that later into September. So you still have a few weeks left to get some magnificent watermelon. Watermelon is magnificent because it's good for the heart, it's good for the circulation, good for the blood, and good for inflammation. Watermelon is the original red, black, and green food and fruit. So it's good for you, it's good to you. And you can even take the leftover rind and you can pickle it for later on and redo it. So it's zero waste. You can save the seeds and go and get you some more. So it's really important that we look at this holistically. Now, this is also in terms of 5-element theory or traditional Chinese medicine, which we get into a little bit. I'm not going in depth. I want to keep this, again, conversational. So if you're getting this on Instagram, throw a question in. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us. If you're on Facebook and you're getting this, send a question. And as soon as this is over and wraps up, I'll jump in there and answer some questions that you have with regard to that. If you're coming in later and you're getting this via our YouTube channel, you get a question, drop it in there, and I'll holler right back at you so that you can get it and get it in. Peace, everyone. This fast starts on Tuesday. Traditionally, fast from African people started on either Tuesday at sunset or Saturday. So the way that the cycle has worked with regard to the equinox, we're able to start on a Tuesday, the 14th, end on the 25th for the main, or the 28th, depending on which. So we're going to go from a Tuesday to a Saturday, or it can go from a Tuesday to a Tuesday. So depending on which fast you're on. And this fast is meant to design, again, the equinox means that the sun is balanced. Okay. And in this particular cycle, as we head into fall, I was talking about traditional Chinese medicine, the organs or the meridian systems that become active during this cycle are the large intestine and the lungs. Okay? So this is hugely important because as we go through this transition, there are things that you can do to bolster, strengthen, support the lungs and the large intestines. Okay, foods, other substances that aid in digestion. So what you'll find is, even though we're on a raw fast, which many see as cooling or dampening for the body if you're using traditional Chinese medicine as your guide, this is a multimodal fast. So we're not just doing food. If we were only doing food, even if we were only doing food, this would not be dampening the body because we are utilizing plant medicines, we're utilizing herbs and other healing plants from across the world, primarily the global south. All right, so this is where I get into you and implore you to know your family history, to know your stories, where your people came from. And this is hugely important because you can then learn the history of your people through food and through life experience, through the stories of your ancestors. And you can utilize this fast as a way to get into deeper connection with them. Large intestine, very important because that's going to rule a great part of the digestive system. So we can get that, and we'll be doing that through our companion exercises that we'll be doing with the Tai Chi Chuan, with the Qigong, with the Kemetic Aha, and the Kemetic Sema. The breathing exercises we'll get into some during our Tuesday, Friday sessions. We'll also get into some of the focused meditation directly to take advantage of the cosmic environment. Okay, we have during the fast, we're going to have the full moon. And so as usual, I'll talk about get out under the full moon, get that energy. If you have the opportunity, which some of you will, you may want to, check out the sunset as well as the sunrise. The sun will be rising a little bit earlier and setting a little bit earlier, but we want you to really know that right at 12 hours of sunlight and darkness will really occur right towards the end of the fast. So the day in which we normally consider to be the equinox, and you've heard me talk about this in my presentation on cycles, you understand that when the cycle comes, it isn't a one-day cycle. And if you look at many of our traditional rituals or celebrations, they're multi-day. And the reason they're multi-day is because we want to take advantage of that energy across the spectrum of days that it occurs. Large intestine, lungs. This also corresponds to time of day. So what that means is that the time of the lungs is from 3 to 5 a.m. The time of the meridian for the large intestine is from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. roughly. So we're looking at the time frame in terms of healing work between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. I'm not saying you have to get up and do it. What I want you to know is that those are the times during the day when the body naturally has activity along the large intestine meridian and the lung meridian. So to do breathing exercises, physical movements, Qigong, and meditation at that time along those particular meridians would be in your best interest. And so you'll see in the guidance document via our LinkTree, which is a pinned comment here. You can go there. You can also go to our bio on Instagram, and it's right there. Our desire in presenting this information to you is to have your decision to make this fast as easy as possible. Okay? All the documentation is there. There are things for each day. I have a full week of potential or prep meals that you can get in advance and prep for. You can make your own trail mix. This is designed to get folks to really tap into their inner creativity. Okay, so we've covered the basics. Now let's get in a little deeper. And so we'll say that on this fast, this particular fast, and you want to look at the cycle of equinox, solstice, as a part of the Assyrian cycle of death, rebirth, redemption, and avenging. We got it? So it's like there's death, there's rebirth, there's actual birth, and then there's avenging. And so at this particular time, we're looking at the phase where Heru has come and has decided that he wants to battle his uncle Set and for what happened to his father. And there, this is a time symbolically where there is a balance and a battle is about to occur. And what we find in this battle is that Heru loses initially. And, because if you, in the summer, he wins the battle for the summer solstice. And that's the victory of light. And that's the celebration of it. The vernal equinox or the spring equinox is a celebration of the return of the light over the darkness. And so then we have the winter solstice, which is where we begin to acknowledge the role of the growth in the darkness, the transformation of the darkness, and how we begin to grow and expand to realize. And so during this time, we would look at it as the time where Set has, in essence, the darkness is starting to grow. Set has taken his victory and has started the journey of Aset and Neptet, along with the assistance of Inpu Puat, Weapon Wat, and Sebek, to find the parts of Asar and to reunite them so that we can have this rebirth and growth, both of the living fruit and of the reunion, both on the other side and of the resurrection on this side. This is also occurring in the first month of the new year, the new Kemetic year. So if you're keeping count, if you go just in general with the unification of Upper and Lower Kemet, this would be seen as the reunification time of like years 6,262, 63, depending on the rendering. And it's based on the helical rising of Septet or Sirius, which depending on your reckoning is from like mid-October, roughly October 11th through the 17th of October. And then you go through the intercalary days. I've talked about this before, but I just want to talk about how we get here in terms of the cycles. And then you get to the period where Heru comes and Heru wants to work to help bring his father's throne into fruition and to fight off the enemies of the light. Particularly as we head into days that become darker and darker, it becomes darker and darker sooner. There's less light available to us. And for many of us who talk all this about darkness and shadow without understanding that what we're talking about is looking deeply into the subconscious, looking deeply into the inner recesses of ourselves. So what we're doing with the fasting, and someone asked me today, well, why do I feel so energetic when I'm fasting? Okay, normally it takes about 80% of the body's energy to digest the food that we eat on a regular basis. And some of us, if you eat a bit more food, or you eat too much food, or you eat food that requires a lot more processing, is rich, or it's lots of animal flesh, heavy sauces, lots of dairy. What it does is it serves to slow down the digestive process, and the consciousness has to be shut down so that the body can digest and process the food. And that's what we call like the itis, or, I got a little sleepy, or those are sorts of things that happen. The body naturally does that. What we're doing with this fast, by doing a raw fast, we're providing the body an opportunity to, one, flush itself out. And that's why we're talking about raw, because we want to use the fiber. Okay, we're doing blended smoothies, blended juices, as well as juices. So, and I've shared that information previously. I'll share it again in preparation for the fast on all the platforms, so you can learn about the benefits of blending and juicing, and why typically we go with our fast, doing raw with blended juices specifically for the higher fiber content. Because if you keep your water intake high, and when I say water intake, I mean spring water. I don't mean purified water. I don't mean distilled water. I don't mean alkaline water. I mean spring water, plain and simple. Okay. Now, if you're using other kinds of water, you want to make sure that in doing so, you're doing it for the specific purpose for which that processing of water is necessary. There are times when it is needed, and so we do it during those times. What we're doing here is we're seeking to elevate and energize the optimal response of the internal systems of the body. So what you'll also find in the guidance document are suggested times in terms of eating and drinking, and when you want to utilize your journal. So you want to get, you want to have a journal to journal your thoughts as you go through. We have a food log, which is on the LinkTree, so you can monitor anything that passes your lips goes on the food log. Hopefully that's clear enough for everybody. If it passes your lips, goes on the food log. You want to get your emotional state, because the goal is, as you look at this after it's over, you want to be able to see and discern identifiable patterns about your relationship with food. What we also want to do is to highlight that you should not be hungry. You shouldn't be have any headaches as a result of doing this work, specifically because we're going to be in the light. I've done it in a way that allows you to onboard, to get on the fast very simply and very easily. If you follow the instructions and you read the materials, it should be a very simple, easy fast. Okay. Now, it also is easy to customize because every body is not the same. The goal of these exercises and movements is to get you to understand your body. Okay. I've had folks who, well, I can't do raw. All right, well, can you do cooked? Can you do stir-fried? We want to do it in such a way that your body, can you do no animal flesh and just do cooked vegetables and fruit? You can do those things, then we're good. The goal is to get to a better place from where you are, or closer to the earth from where you are currently, and to utilize that closeness to the earth to extract the most energy from the food that you can for your body. In addition to that, we're going to be repurposing the energy in the body. And so what that means is, that's why we're doing Tai Chi, that's why we're doing Qigong, breathing exercises, meditation, yoga, body manipulation, yoga, stretching, all of those things. Because what that is going to do is it's going to release a lot of what we're facing. We're going to be able to journal it out, because we talked about the journals. There are a lot of things that are going to be coming up for your review, because we got 5 planets in retrograde. Again, check out Sonia Marie's Word Life Astrology and the weekly rundowns that I believe occur on either Monday or Tuesday on YouTube. Check her out. She's here on all the social media as well. Follow her, get it in. It's important for you. Okay? It'll help to orient you, because as you're getting in a more highly energetic space, fortunately, many of us may not have to go out as much because of what's going on. Take advantage of that, slow down, get some good sleep, good water. Check the recommendations in the guidance document on the LinkTree. And then most importantly, what I want you to do is, there's some other things I'm going to go over right now that I haven't gone over in detail before, but I need to go over because there have been more questions about this, okay? So if you have a partner and y'all aren't on this together, and you are not regularly practicing, they're not regularly practicing an enhanced or enlightened nutrition consumption pattern, and they're not a practicing martial artist or yogi, what we're asking you to consider is that there be no intimate bodily fluid exchange. Basically, that means no sex. Okay. And I know some of y'all younger folks, or folks with less white in the hair, going to be like, oh my God, what? But, for those of us, you understand that, it's just a couple of weeks, you'll survive. Most importantly, even if we did it for 3 months, you'll be okay. Because many married folks, folks in long-term relationships, 2 weeks ain't nothing. Okay, it's good. And so what that's also doing is allowing all of the organs to refocus, repurpose, and rest, and allow that energy to go towards healing. And if you are with a partner, we'll be able to utilize these tools as a way to re-examine and explore what you call intimacy in that relationship. So that over the course of this time, while you may not be exchanging bodily fluids and recalibrating the information exchange, the ancestral technology exchange between the two of you, there are other ways that you could do that. And I'll get into that on the next session. But what I want to get you to really think about is every day, we're going to get up, we're going to do our water, get our all over body check-ins, do our meditation, get our breathing exercises, our Tai Chi Chuan, our Qigong, our yoga movements multiple times a day. If you are partaking in some of this social media or literal media streaming sites, if it has commercials, please don't watch it. And I know some of y'all are looking at it like, well, when you say commercial, do you mean like a 30-second commercial break? No, I mean commercials, like when you're watching your favorite movie and you see a product pop up and, it just sits there so you can identify it in the background. That's a commercial in your movie. So what I'm saying is, take the time to pick up a book. We call it Wisdom from the Sages of the Ages. So what we talk about is wisdom doesn't have a culture, doesn't have a particular relationship with a particular part of the world. What we like to do is to highlight the global South, to highlight the wisdom from folks who are fighting for their liberation against oppression from the cis-heteropatriarchal settler colonial hierarchy. We got it? So that's what we're working to celebrate, those folks, and to read from those folks so that we expand our awareness during this time. So that when we come out of this fast, after spending these 14 days doing this work, you may want to look at it in terms of, I have made a consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. In this 2 weeks, I felt better than I felt in a long time. I'm on the right path. I was able to reset myself. You don't want to go back to Jack and the Crack or, Macbeth or, Murder King or any of those other places. You don't want to go back to those places that disrespect you. You want to be able to cook your own food, have that intimate relationship with your food, your family, your nurturing, to understand that. And so for many of you folks understand, when you're praying over food or whatever, you're not praying to cleanse the food. It's a way to commune with all those who have contributed and put in work so that you could eat. And that's hugely important in these days for us to remember, because these are the essential workers who have been on the front lines during these international pandemics, working to ensure that we have the means of existence. And I just mean food, water, clothing, shelter. And so during this fast, take the time to remember them. And as you move your body through this process, I want you to really, really think about the kind of world you want to live in, because that is what's at stake right now. Okay? When we look back, I want you to be able to say to your children, your grandchildren, I was part of the change that shifted this planet so that we could continue to have human life on it. Because other folks aren't going to tell this to you, but that's where we are. And most importantly, during this time, take care of the Black women around you. That's all I can say about that. As we care better for Black women on this planet, it increases the likelihood that we'll be able to survive on this planet. The level of misogynoir, the level of misogyny, the level of anti-Blackness, the settler colonial perspectives, all rooted in our disconnection from seeing the root and the source from which we all spring, which is Black women. And so as they are continually disrespected, imagine what that does to the planet. All the good and sweet things of life have come from Black women. So our work must be in what I call fructifying, making space so that we can be productive and useful, and not in a settler colonial, not in a capitalistic space, but in a way that unites and aligns us with the cosmos and the needs for our community towards liberation. That's what this fasting is about. Are you in alignment with your mission? Are you in alignment with the reason that you are on this planet right now? Are you doing the work that you need to be doing? If your answer is, I'm not sure, check out the fast. Go to the LinkTree, download the stuff. It's PDF. It's already been virus checked, but please virus check it. You know, be safe. You know, that's what science is for, so that you can protect yourself. We do the same thing for anything else. Now, one last thing that I want to get off into before we wind up. I need you to get this in. Start now. So that way, when the fast happens, you're able to make that consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. I really hope that as you're looking at the world right now, you understand that this is not a sustainable way that we can all live. There's got to be some substantial change made. And instead of looking at other folks, we can start with us. And then we can hold others accountable, particularly business, because we can see what the issue is. It becomes real clear. All right? So I'm just going to run through this again real quick. Then I'm going to get into how or what ways you can get access to the information again. And if you want to join us on the fast, go ahead. I'll be here the next 3 Sundays at 3 p.m. That's ideally the plan. That's what's on the schedule. However, I am a practicing Kemetic priest. I'm what's called a Hemnicher, which is servant of spirit. And so what that means is that tonight it was supposed to be 5, well, it's supposed to be 3, it slipped to 5, and yet here we are. It's a beautiful night. Hopefully you get out and you get to see the half moon as it sets. You get to see the planets. You think Jupiter and Saturn are up in the southern sky. The whole role of this work is to return the awe of the cosmos to you. If you really knew how powerful the sun was, you wouldn't treat the dark the way that you do and use these lights. We'd be done. Imagine a world where there were no just candles and sunlight. You'd have a different reverence for the sun. Imagine a world with none of these artificial dams that shift the whole energetic microfauna, microflora, all the way up to the flora and fauna in a space, and how that is shifted just by the making of a dam, implementation of a dam. What's happening with your body? What's happening with your spirit? What are the things that you can do in partnership and growth so that we can get this stuff done for us? Check us out. Again, LinkTree is there. You know, we're saying you can join us. Check it out. Share it. Something you can do with family and friends. This is something that is a healthy space. So you have an opportunity to check it out. Go as far as you can. It's modifiable. If you have questions, you can ask questions. I can offer some assistance. from a cultural and traditional perspective in terms of why we fast during this time, why we do the things that we do. But this is your journey. Check it out. Spend the time in prayer, spend the time in meditation. Read the important books for you and your life. Get rooted, get centered, and see that when you do these things all together, it affords you an opportunity that other folks may not have. Namely, this is going to pick up your discipline. You're going to have energy that you wouldn't normally have. So what are you going to do with that? And that's why we meditate. That's why we've given you this structure so that when you free up 80% of your body's energy from the way it digests food, you're going to need to put that somewhere. It just disperses into the universe. We don't want it to disperse. We want it to recycle and use that to heal the internal organs and the way the internal organs are working for us. Particularly as we go through this year, we want to look at the things that are happening for us. Large intestine, lungs. These are primary areas that we need that are being negatively impacted by this pandemic. So we're doing things that can help and aid that. Some of those things are particular plants, plant medicines you will find on the list. Also, what I didn't get into, I said no sex, but I also mean no smoking, except for ritual, no liquor. And by that means some folks have, offered tobacco or some form of burned substance. You can use that. I understand ritual. Same thing for alcohols, only in ritual. And really want you to think about, like I said, many people have a very limited view of what they think intimacy is. Many folks have a very limited view of what they think you can do with food. So that's why you see a lot of pictures and photos of food on my profile, so that you can expand and look at it differently. I'm gonna spend this time making a lot of my own dressings. I really want you to know that anything that I'm cooking or I'm sharing or I'm preparing is done in less than a half an hour, including the prep and everything, from start to stop, less than half an hour. Involving and including family. These are the things that we need to do because we want to create the space and model the space for positive mental health, positive physical health, positive emotional health, and positive spiritual health. Because the work that we do, particularly during this time of the fast, provides you an opportunity to look at the body as spirit, mind, body, as structural integration, where we're doing physical movements that are meditative in nature to align the physical mind with the body. Because again, the mind is separate from the brain. The brain is a part of the body. Okay, the mind is connected to the consciousness and the spirit. And so through the use of the movements of the Tai Chi Chuan, the Qigong, you're actually working on healing the specific organs and subtle energy bodies, working on the heart, the cardiovascular, cardiopulmonary systems, working on the overall flexibility of the body. And we're doing all these things while providing a high nutrient, high fiber environment, which is going to be pushing a lot of the crap out of the system. All right. So that's the goal. And we start Tuesday. And, I've been sharing, but also on the LinkTree, this is what the Kemetic Al-Kemi Association is about. So check out the LinkTree. If you like what you're seeing from us, please donate via our PayPal that's there. And because a lot of, compiling this information for you took time, took effort, in addition to explaining the cycles and being able to be here so y'all can have this. This is something that we offer to the community, and we do it 4 times a year, and we brought it back during the pandemic because we know the struggles that people are having. We know that, if you're at home and you're sitting at home, your relationship with food ain't the same before the fact, before we got into this. It's like, I'm a little depressed. Let me see what I can eat. I'm here at home on the computer. Let me get something to eat. I'm still here at home. Let me get something to eat. Well, I was going to walk before with the fires and everything. I can't walk. Let me get something to eat. And so some of us have a different relationship with our food now. It's there for us for emotional comfort. And so what this provides us is an opportunity to regain control of the mind, to regain control of the spirit, and to use the kickstart, the jumpstart of discipline that is being imposed by us as a result of trying this fast out. You now have an opportunity to get your life reoriented in a direction that you choose and you decide. So if you say that, I really appreciate what Sonia Marie said in that, astrological rundown. I really appreciate what Inpu was saying here. I really like that those herbs and those, sprouts I got from Major Microgreens. I also keep honey sticks in my car as a little energy boost because it's raw. And so I don't have to have a lot of heavy stuff. So I keep the honey in the car with me. It's also good for healing and event. I get a little scratcher. I won't get into that in terms of how to have a natural emergency kit. However, I will say this as I wind up. Thank you so much. This is Sunday night. I know some of y'all could have been watching a number of other things. I'm grateful that you were here to spend this time with me. I really am grateful for your presence. What I'd really love for you to do is go to the LinkTree, at least download the guidance document, check it out, see if it's something you want. If it is, the other documents are there for you, including the food log, all right? Check it out. It's going to be hugely important that you know what's going on with the foods that you eat that go in your body. You may discover that while you may not have an allergy, you may have a sensitivity to certain foods. You may get gas, you may get discomfort when you eat a certain food. You may have emotions around a particular food, and you may want to be able to explore more deeply why that happens. Also, I will say that for many of you, you may say, well, I'm not getting enough of a sweat from this Tai Chi or this yoga. What can I do to get a more physical workout? And so I'll tell you what I do. I take my son down to the Bluff every Saturday at 12:30 and get it in with Raw Life Defense. You see, I'm actually rocking the Raw Life Defense shirt for those of you that don't know, down in Long Beach. That's what I do. So my son gets a workout. He gets to be around other young people his age in what we call our jujitsu pod. Okay? There are ways that we can manage our mental health that aren't just about seeing a therapist. I go because it's at the beach. You can hear the crash of the ocean, and you can hear the kia of engaged young people learning from one of the best instructors on the planet right now. Okay, with Professor Zahalia. So you all will have an opportunity to check us out, see if you like what we do. We have classes as well at the Kemetic Al-Kemi Association. We do Zoom classes Tuesdays and Fridays at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. We also have classes on our YouTubes. After it goes on to Zoom, we upload it to YouTube like we're going to do this video once we're done. Check it out. If you like what you get, go to our PayPal and donate to the support. All right? We're also working to expand these services so that Tai Chi Chuan, the way we teach it for self-defense, which means that sometimes you're going to have to get touched. And so we're reaching the time and space where folks are making their choices on what they want to do as they go forward. We've returned to in-person classes. If you're signed up for our newsletter, which you can get on the LinkTree, you'll be available to see what we're doing in October. If you want to see what's happening for the rest of September or the other information that went out in our September newsletter, sign up via the LinkTree and get at me on one of our social media platforms with your email address, and I'll forward it to you so you can have access to what we have going. We had a very special relationship with Dr. Paul Goss and some things that he did with us. We also have a special time with Dr. Runoko Rashidi. We celebrated our elder sister, Mocha Carolyn Warren, who just journeyed to the West of the Ancestors. And we typically in our community, we celebrate those of our people who have gone on so that they don't endure the second death. And for those of you that don't know, the second death comes when the people who were here with you or knew you or your descendants or relatives cease to speak your name. And so the names of all those who have gone on ahead of us we continue to honor them and to speak their names so that they journey into the West and that they carry on in support of us. We carry on in support of them and that reciprocity. I shared a lot with you. Also, on the guidance document, there's some suggested books that you may want to check out in terms of the raw food journey, but also just in terms of what it's like to be vegan, in terms of the perspective, in terms of the foods that you may want to check out. Because, some of you, you say you don't want to, vegan is so limiting, but you eat the same 4 or 5 animals. And when you actually season them up in all them different ways, you know what you're using? Herbs, plant medicines, vegetables, and fruit. So this is just a variation. I'm not coming at anybody. I want you to just really think about what's happening, what's going on, what is your relationship? Take a deeper look at it, and then make a consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. If you can do those things, you'll be able to identify and realign yourself with your mission for why you're here right now. Because we need each and every one of you to be on mission so that we can have the world that we deserve. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your listening to me, and really thank you for your presence. I am Seba Inpu Ka Mut, Hemnecher Shamsu Amin Im Karaneth Sushini Heshanu Karau Neth Aminara. All that's just Meridian says, I am teacher Inpu Ka Mut, humble servant of spirit, out of the Temple of the White and Gold Lotus, Shrine of Amun-Ra, Temple of the Mother, keeper of the West Coast Shrine, based in Los Angeles, California. I am an Ankh bearer. I am a life bearer. I am a fructifier. I am your brother. Should you need assistance along this path, reach out across the social media and I will help in any way that I can. I'm grateful, and I say to you, Hetep, peace be unto you. Ankh Uja Seneb, life, health, and strength. And we will see each other soon, either in the virtual world or what many have called the real world, but we're only here for a little while. So please take the time that you have here to make a consistent commitment to a lifestyle change. Thank you so much. Appreciate y'all. Hit the LinkTree. I'll be around for a few minutes on the social media to check in with folks if there are any questions, comments, issues, concerns that folks want to do to get at me. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming through. Hajapu. Peace, y'all. Be there in a minute.